We are witnessing distressing crop figures with significant implications. The emergence of food scarcity is becoming evident. In the upcoming months, spanning from summer to fall, we anticipate a substantial escalation in 9 specific shortages. Certain shortages have already impacted us severely, while others are poised to develop into more critical situations. Prior to delving further, I will provide you with information regarding these 9 items that are currently or soon to be in short supply. If you appreciate the content from this channel and wish to help it reach a wider audience, please click the thumbs up button. This gesture will also notify the YouTube algorithm of your interest in watching more of these videos. Alright, so let's start with the first item, beef. We have been issuing warnings about the impending beef shortage, and while beef prices have risen compared to last year, they are still not as high as they will be. How do we know this? Well, the number of beef cow herds in the U.S. is currently at near record lows. The situation was slightly worse in 2014, but if we look back beyond that year, we have to go all the way back to the 80s to find such low cow herd numbers. For those who are not familiar with farming, it's important to understand that beef stock comes from beef cows. With fewer cows, there will be fewer calves, which means a reduced supply of cattle for future slaughter. This shortage is not only temporary, but is expected to persist for several years. In the short term, we can already see the impact with the lowest herd numbers and cattle head count in the United States in the past 60 years. Will it worsen? Absolutely. Many farmers are slaughtering more cattle than usual, leading to a decline in herd numbers over the past few months. This crunch was predictable, and unless people reduce their beef consumption and opt for alternatives like plant-based burgers, we can anticipate astronomical beef prices in the future. Now, let's move on to the second item, lettuce. If you've been to the store recently, you've probably noticed the lettuce problem that has persisted for the past 6 to 8 months or even longer. The quality of lettuce heads has been disappointing, particularly due to issues in the Salinas Valley, California. Around half of the lettuce consumed in the entire United States comes from this valley, which has been grappling with the ISV virus affecting various region has faced challenges from last year's drought and this year's flooding, leading to significant crop losses. Consequently, the heads of lettuce available are smaller, and farmers in other areas are harvesting prematurely to keep up with the demand. The situation with lettuce is expected to remain unfavorable for the foreseeable future. We might start seeing some improvements by the end of this year, possibly during the fall, depending on the weather conditions in the Salinas Valley. However, considering recent weather patterns in California, it is uncertain when the situation will improve. Moving on to the third item, California tomatoes, canned. The majority of canned tomatoes in the United States come from California, where they have centralized packing plants for processing and canning. Unfortunately, last year's drought had a significant impact, causing a 40% loss in the tomato crop. Considering that most canned tomatoes in the country originate from California, the implications are evident. The odds are nearly 100% that we will experience a shortage of canned tomatoes before the new harvest is ready for processing and canning this fall. As a result, popular products like canned tomatoes and spaghetti sauces may become scarce during the summer months until the next harvest can be processed and packaged, which is likely to occur in mid to late fall. This issue is similar to the upcoming concern with potatoes, but we will discuss that later. Stay tuned for a bonus item at the end of our discussion. For now, let's focus on tomatoes as the third item on our list. Number 4 on our list, olives. This particular concern takes us to Europe, specifically Italy, Greece, and Spain. These countries are facing severe drought issues. Last year, they experienced significant losses in their olive crops due to these conditions. Unfortunately, the drought has persisted into this year as well, indicating a potential ongoing problem. Olive oil production in particular requires processing and transportation, which adds to the time needed before it reaches store shelves. Currently, we are dealing with last year's crop, and we have yet to receive the new harvest of olives. It will be several months before the next crop becomes available. As a result, there's a shortage of olive oil and olives, leading to higher prices and limited options in the store. We anticipate that the situation will worsen before the arrival do not imply a permanent absence of the product. Instead, they indicate a gap between the depletion of the previous harvest and the availability of the new one. This gap will be evident in olives, as well as in canned tomatoes, as we mentioned earlier. Additionally, we will discuss potatoes in a similar context shortly. Fifth item on our list, wheat and flour, particularly bread flour. This is a significant concern that is causing problems, especially with bread production. A considerable portion of bread flour is derived from hard red winter wheat. Unfortunately, last year's hard red winter wheat harvest encountered issues, and this year's outlook appears even worse. In 2022, winter wheat production was down by 30% compared to the previous year, and this year's numbers are projected to be even lower. This situation is concerning because the hard red wheat is a preferred ingredient for pasta and high-quality bread. The winter wheat crops in Canada and the United States have been damaged by drought and cold weather, exacerbating the problem. As a result, pasta prices in Rome have increased by 17.5%, causing significant concern among the locals. To address this issue, a council has been established to find ways to lower pasta prices, as it is an essential staple for Italians. Furthermore, Argentina, one of the largest wheat exporters, is expected to experience a 57% decrease in wheat exports. These statistics illustrate the severe damage incurred by wheat crops globally. When we consider this in conjunction with the issues affecting beef, lettuce, and tomatoes, the situation becomes even more critical. Moving on to the sixth item, oranges and citrus. The devastating impact of Hurricane Ian and Tropical Storm Nicole has led to the destruction of orange crops in Florida. During the 2022 to 2023 harvesting season, approximately 51% of the orange crop was lost, marking the worst loss since 1913. While oranges are also sourced from other regions, Florida accounts for a significant portion of the supply. The significant loss of orange and other citrus fruits poses a substantial blow to the industry. Now let's discuss the seventh item on our list, rice. There are disruptions in rice production due to various factors. In Pakistan, significant flooding has resulted in the destruction of a large portion of their rice crops. India is also facing drought conditions, as well as drought
China
and
has
flooding
experienced
both drought and flooding within the same season, causing devastating effects on their rice crops. While China doesn't typically export rice, this has led to an increased need for rice imports. Moreover, Thailand, the second largest exporter of rice globally, is anticipating a drought this year. They have already advised farmers not to plant a second crop of rice due to limited water availability for irrigation. Typically, Thai farmers cultivate 2 rice crops per year, but they are being advised to focus on just the first crop. The reduction in rice production in Thailand will have a significant impact on global rice markets. Number 8 on our list, cooking oils, specifically sunflower oil and palm oil. If you've noticed while shopping, sunflower oil may be difficult to find or inconveniently placed in stores. The reason for this is that approximately 70% of sunflower oil in 2020 to 2021 was sourced from Russia or Ukraine. Given the ongoing situations in those countries, it explains the shortage of sunflower oil. Another cooking oil of concern is palm oil. While some may think they don't consume palm oil, it is widely used in packaged foods and fast food products. Palm oil is often utilized as a cheaper alternative in various processed and unhealthy foods. Unfortunately, there are shortages and disruptions affecting other cooking oils as well. Canola oil is facing issues due to strikes and export disruptions in Canada, a major exporter of canola. Additionally, soybeans, another source of cooking oil, are experiencing challenges, although we won't delve further into that topic in this discussion. Looking at the overall situation with cooking oils, it's concerning. Indonesia, a significant palm oil exporter, has reported a 25% decrease in palm oil exports. Considering that most palm oil comes from Indonesia, this has further exacerbated the cooking oil shortage. And finally, we come to the 9th item on our list, potatoes. In 2022, the U.S. potato harvest saw a 3% decrease compared to the previous year. This shortage was particularly noticeable from late August to mid-October, when it became difficult to find potatoes, and the frozen potato section in stores seemed to disappear. While high-end stores may have had a consistent supply, many people struggled to find potatoes. The decrease may not sound significant at first, but when we compare it to previous years, 2020, there was a 5.5% decrease, and compared to 2018, a 12% decrease in potato production. Over the past 5 years, potato consumption in the United States has not decreased by 12%. The shortage of potatoes has been worsening each year, with no bumper crop to alleviate the situation. It is expected that potato shortages will escalate around July, with discount grocers experiencing shortages and skyrocketing potato prices. The availability of potatoes from the new harvest is uncertain, considering the high fertilizer prices and the unknown number of farmers planting potatoes this year. Additionally, as a bonus item, we have sugar. The beet harvest in Europe was poor last year, and there are ethanol conversions taking place. Flooding in India has also affected sugarcane areas. These factors contribute to a downward trend in sugar supply, which may lead to increased prices and potential attempts to modify ingredient lists in products. If you have observed or experienced other shortages, please let us know in the comments.